Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today is November 26th, and we're doing government and social stories in our first episode of the L1 show for the week. It is Thanksgiving here in the U.S. Less exciting if you're abroad, but...
That might mean next week's episode is going to be weird.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll be out.
For sure will. So, I don't know, stock up now. What are you going to do?
It's pretty late. If you have to go to the store on a Tuesday before Thanksgiving, it's going to be pretty wild.
It's going to be tough on you because there's such a drought of other things that you could watch in the media. So little of it out there.
Mm.
Maybe you can get some Steam games on sale and play those.
I don't think it's started yet, has it? You think it'll start by then?
Probably.
Yeah, probably. Right before everyone's off for a long weekend. That makes sense.
Do they usually do it in November?
I heard a rumor that the new Buggy Stalker game is also coming to Game Pass, so you'll have options.
Yeah, I tried it.
Did you like it?
Oh, did it actually happen?
Nah.
I didn't play enough of it to get a good feel for it, but I don't know, the controls seem sluggish.
Oh.
Something's going on there. I don't know.
Did you have your controller plugged in?
I don't think so.
You've done that in the past where you're like, why is my mouse moving around? It's like, oh, your
It
controller.
wasn't that it was moving around. It just, I don't know, something didn't feel right about it. Maybe they'll patch it. Also, the Game Pass versions are always bad. There's always something broken about the Game Pass version.
You know what else is bad?
There's a lot of stuff.
Was that a segue?
Google.
Oh,
U.S. regulators seek to break up Google, forcing the Chrome sale of Chrome as part of its monopoly punishment. And the Department of Justice even went so far as to say, "Don't make you sell Android too." Truly, the AT&T of our time.
there was some commentary that maybe they weren't really looking for this. They were just looking for Google to stop doing all the horrible things. And this was sort of like, here's how bad it could get. There's also talk that maybe the next administration will not be friendly to this.
Yeah. The regulation, definitely it's a case of bad timing for Google because the incoming administration almost certainly is going to say, oh, this is overregulation and we should just let Google be Google.
Now, we all know that Google is guilty of the things they're being accused of.
Yeah, nobody's like, oh, no, poor little Google getting picked on by the government. Like, does anyone not think they're monopoly?
Does this fix it? Is it better? We have so few. I mean, you mentioned the past when things like this happened. Did it make things that much better?
No, AT&T was AT&T was definitely abusing their monopoly, but the breakup of AT&T was definitely worse for consumers. It was sort of a weird paradox.
You would think, though, splitting, the search engine from, advertising would be good eventually.
A lot of this kind of stuff, the breakup is meant to change a motivational behavior. And a common theme in a lot of our shows, and especially this week, is when a company has a product that people like, they bundle things that people do not like with the thing that they like instead of just letting things stand on their own. It's like the subprime mortgage crisis. It's like, oh, we're going to bundle some toxic assets with the good mortgage things, and you can't just buy the good ones. You can't separate it out by design. It's like that with this. It's like you're going to all the good stuff about Chrome and all the bad stuff about the advertising profile stuff. It's like,
Remember when streaming was going to solve that problem with cable television?
It did for a very brief shining moment.
Very brief. Now we're in arguably a worse place with that. But that is not the only thing. You mentioned Android, so the DOJ was kind of like, pray that we don't also go after Android because arguably it's the same reasons we could say that.
The tone of Vader. It's like,
Yeah,
pray I
yeah.
do not alter the deal.
But they have made some other hints of other things that they might require in order to let Google continue to exist.
DOJ proposal in antitrust case aims to undo Google-Anthropic partnership. So there are some people in the Department of Justice that understands that the AI angle is definitely a threat to Google's bottom line, and Google is maybe less interested in having AI as a thing be better versus maintaining their incumbency. Is incumbency the word?
Yes.
So maintaining their incumbent status with search engines and everything else, because AI is a threat. If you've got an AI, even if you had a search engine that was 40 terabytes big, you could run it locally and it was indexed on all the web, and you could just ask it questions about, hey, what was this article on Wikipedia? And it could tell you. That's a direct threat to Google.
Well, speaking of incumbency, a lot of the jobs in the government are going to change probably very soon. And some of the people see the writing on the wall. They know what's going to happen to them. And so they're just going to bow out.
SEC Chair Gary Gensler will step down because the incoming administration is very, very, very cryptocurrency friendly, and he has made it his mission to dismantle as much cryptocurrency as possible. The real beneficiary of this, Coinbase. Coinbase has been trying to follow the rules, and they've been abused regardless, and I think they would have an incredible case, with the incoming administration to stand up to this. So he's just like, all right, I'm out.
He's going to quit. I think it's like midday on Inauguration Day. Like he's going to stay until the last moment.
The drama of it all.
He's probably going to take all the office supplies when he leaves.
He's going to angrily take all the staplers.
Toilet paper,
Like, I've taken the staplers. Your staples don't fit the new staplers. Good luck. But, not to say that there's not cryptocurrency scams. They're definitely that. But this is someone who has not been interested in any even legitimate uses of crypto, if there are legitimate uses of crypto.
Yeah, remember when the entire government was like, this is money laundering and drug dealing. And that's all it is, and that's all it'll ever be. Slowly, most people changed their tune. He did not. Stuck to his guns. At least we can give him that.
He's consistent. Yeah.
The government's also been really consistent about making that same strawman argument with cash these days. It's like, oh, you sent your friend $600? That's probably a drug deal. We need to know about that. Which is a thing now, which is insane.
Now, I forgot, I think, to add the undersea cable being cut story. It was between Europe and where?
Norway?
I thought it was Finland. But I don't remember.
Finland was one of them.
What was on the other end of it?
Another NATO country?
I don't remember.
Rostock? I don't know.
Anyway, the undersea cables have been under attack for like the past 5-6 years. And it's always like, oh, it's a big mystery. We don't know. And so the U.S. is looking at that and thinking, we're in charge here. We would like to remain in charge. So what are we going to do about this?
U.S. agency to launch review of undersea cables and national security risks. So this is a fun article. You should definitely read this. But this got me thinking, like, are the people that are actually in charge of this review and the undersea cables and the national security risks, like, are they doing this in earnest? Because, okay, there were two cables that were cut at the same time, and the goal of that was to knock something off of the internet. But there were more than two connections, so I guess the intelligence wasn't up to date. The expected outcome was severe disruption, but there wasn't severe disruption because there were more connections to those countries, and the internet itself largely rounded around the issue. So the fact that it happened was kind of a nothing burger in terms of, oh my gosh, it broke functionality, which is what we should aim for, that level of redundancy, and being sort of circumspect about how much redundancy there is. But I would also like to see the equivalent of SEAL Team 6 for repairs. So it's like as soon as something like this happens, just dispatch a repair ship and have it fixed before anybody even realizes.
They said the last time they had done an audit of undersea cables, I think it was like 2001.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's a long time ago.
Yeah. But in this case, did the obscurity help us? Because clearly the old cables that everybody knew about, like, let's cut both of them at the same time because, it's like, what is it? Once is unfortunate, twice is happenstance, 3 times is enemy action, something like that.
So, we've had quite a few cuts over the last year. I mean,
yeah. So,
interestingly, this article mentions that China, with the whole Belt and Road thing, they were on fire to run undersea cables. They would just go to countries and be like, please, let us give you a cable. And the U.S. very quietly vetoed every one of those. They're like, that's not happening.
How many? I think I thought it said like there were like 40 or 50 cables that ran between like U.S. and Europe.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Some of those fiber optic cables were laid in the early 1980s when like fiber optics was still kind of a new invention.
Yeah.
And they've been upgraded to be, multi-terabit capacities, which tells you like, why don't we have fiber domestically?
The real question is, how delicious are those cables for the sharks that get to feast on them?
Not as delicious as they are for the anchors and
Yeah.
saws.
The boat anchors and saws, yeah. But, the repair, I would just, it's like, send the repair truck, have it fixed in hours. Like
Truck?
A truck, yeah, it's a duck boat. It just drives down there.
Yeah.
Down to the Mariana Trench.
I think it might be a little muddy.
Well, just a little. It's fine. It's all terrain.
I mean, it should be so standardized that you can drive a truck onto like the boat shoes, and then it just drives out to the middle of wherever, and it just does. We're on the precipice of being able to do this with robots. That's really exciting. The robots take all the labor jobs. We can just dispatch a repair robot.
No, I want like SEAL Gary, who's, like, smoking a cigarette on the deck of the boat, and he's like, "There's a problem right there. There's a cut."
Like the fiber repair division of the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Well, Gensler is out, and there are going to be other big changes at government agencies and big changes in terms of what those agencies will probably be doing after that.
Trump names big tech critic Brendan Carr to the U.S. Communications Regulator. This is the FCC. He's going to be our new Ajit Pai. And
he used to work with Ajit Pai, and I was like, oh, no.
He's perhaps even more Ajit Pai than Ajit Pai himself, which is incredible. I didn't think anybody could out Ajit Pai. We'll see. But so far, he's on record as saying, ISPs should be able to charge more for data caps. And I think ISPs should not be providers. Cable companies and Trump's FCC chair agree. Data caps are good for you. Yeah, that's this guy. So he also believes in internet fast lanes, and he believes in not net neutrality and a lot of other things. This does not bode well.
So this is the old argument of data caps are good because if we have data caps, then we can give cheaper plans, and people want cheaper plans. Even though some of these companies don't even offer like a full non-throttled unlimited.
That is definitely only a theoretical possibility. No company has ever actually done that. What has happened is that the least expensive plans have the most severe caps, and then the price goes up for literally everyone else.
And we all know the most famous cabinet positions, although they're not technically cabinet positions, they're advisory roles. But we know that Elon Musk is going to be advising the Trump team, and you might be wondering, why would the world's richest man with so much on his plate, good Lord, he's got a lot to do, why would he want that extra headache? Could there be an ulterior motive?
The Trump administration reportedly wants to unleash driverless cars on America.
I don't think the Trump admin really cares. I think the people who are supporting the Trump admin perhaps want this.
They found the best picture of him doing like the greedy hand rub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, editor.
There's too many regulations with driverless cars. We could just
unleash them out there. Put them out on the Eastern Kentucky roads. They can just swing around those mountains. It's fine.
Learning from our mistakes is a great way to learn. So when there's a lot of traffic accidents, that can be rolled into the training model. That's probably a good idea.
Every corpse advances science.
Human lives, Wendell.
So they point out some of the big changes will be that right now you can apply to do your driverless cars, but it's like, was it $2,500 a year?
Yeah.
Until things like really start to improve. Because remember, all these labor board investigations into Elon Musk, they've been like, I don't know about this full self-driving. And even the other companies have gotten in trouble for, dragging humans around and blocking traffic and stuff. So, yeah, we're just gonna go full throttle on that. No pun intended. And the other things that are going to be happening, we talk about, the Musk's role is supposed to be to get rid of waste. Do we need all these subsidies? Do we need all these handouts? Do we need corporations to be getting money? I think Musk won't be voting against that one since all of his companies get that. But there's worry that all that money will be yanked away.
Biden administration finalizes $6.6 billion in CHIPS grants for TSMC before Trump takes office. Now, I thought this was an inflammatory headline because Intel is in line to get CHIPS money too, and they've famously complained they haven't gotten their money, even though they are more in compliant with than other people. But I think there's a story there. This was mostly about TSMC.
And all Arizona.
Yeah.
Arizona is going to be the big winner in terms of all that money.
So, what about, is there a chance that Intel's not going to get their money? Because that would be bad for Intel.
They better start lining some pockets in the new administration.
I don't think TSMC's lining that many pockets, but okay.
But Intel's slush money for lining pockets has got to be dwindling, right? They're doing very poorly. And all of our big tech bros have kind of become our bankers, which is worrying. Why would we want that? Shouldn't those things be separated? Well, they're not going to be separated, but maybe this is a step in the right direction.
Apple Pay, Cash App, and other digital wallets will be regulated more like banks. U.S. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau will supervise digital payment providers that process more than 50 million transactions a year. This is a bit of a double-edged sword. PayPal should fall under this. But PayPal has been so, how when a bunch of people give money to a cause, like the trucker thing in Canada, and then PayPal's like, oh, this is money for dissidents. We should just turn that off. The banks should not get involved in those aspects of the transaction, and yet they do. And this is going to be even greater reach into that kind of thing.
And it's going to create a situation where you can't create an alternative. Because if you create an alternative and becomes popular enough, 50 million transactions a year, that's not a ton. Then all of a sudden now you're going to have to know your customer. You're going to have to report that to the government most likely. And you're going to have to do the whole thing where they're like, turn this off. This is terrorism.
Yeah. But it's just people that want to have a drive-through in Canada. It's like, nope, terrorism. Okay.
Speaking of terrorism, you might not have even noticed it. But it was right there in front of you all along. How could you not have known?
The headline is, Steam is an unsafe place for teens and young adults. U.S. Senator warns Gabe Newell of more intense scrutiny from the government if Valve doesn't take action against extremist content. This should be read with the same contempt as video game violence causes real-world violence.
This is based on an ADL report, which should be all that you need to know.
I heard one of the things is they talked about, like, oh, there's Nazi imagery on the platform. And it's like, well, a lot of the games you're shooting them, does that count?
Have you played Wolfenstein?
Yeah.
It's all about killing Nazis. Like,
and I'm not saying that I'm pro censorship on anything on Steam. Whatever, do whatever. But no one mentioned the avalanche of adult themes.
Yeah.
Like that's half the front page these days. I guess the kids. Does Steam check your age?
Yeah.
I mean,
a lot.
You do like a checkbox. I don't know if it does anything special, but.
Oh, right. You have to click the. Oh, the kids are.
Yeah.
They got the date dropped out.
It does something special if the credit card is in your name or not.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
I've never noticed that.
Well, this is a lie. I can't think of any way this is not a lie.
It was true for me. I feel like I haven't gotten hardly any spam calls anymore.
I must be on a special list.
Yeah.
It's because I antagonize them, maybe.
FTC reports 50% drop in unwanted call complaints since 2021.
They're like, this guy's a jerk, but he does engage. He doesn't just hang up immediately, so like put him on the call list.
Joke's on you. I just change my number every year or two.
I don't think that the people on the phone have any agency in terms of the call list, right?
I wouldn't think so. Yeah, it's probably
automated.
you just get a list and you have to call whoever.
No, you don't call. It's automated.
Oh, wow.
And they don't even click over to those guys till they hear you speak.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Because I've heard the automated. That's
it's
true.
an efficient system.
I got a scam. I got to go.
Yeah, I mean, think about how much time you waste if you're just
Yeah.
sitting there dialing. And over in the UK, they also have some pretty amazing things to say about browsers and what they're going to do about them.
Apple's browser rules stifle innovation on iOS, says UK regulator. UK regulator has not yet stumbled into a few of the things here, but they're looking at it and they're saying, hey, wait a minute. This stuff that should work in a web browser, that literally does work on competing platforms' web browsers, it doesn't work on iOS. Why is that? And you dig into it, and it turns out it's because of arbitrary Apple rules. But they haven't figured out the smoking gun of like WebGL and like video acceleration and that sort of stuff. If you really want the transparency of Apple's ham-fistedness here, look for things like WebAssembly performance and WebGL performance and that sort of stuff, because Apple has deliberately gimped the performance of that in the web browser in hopes that you'll go build a native application so they can take a cut.
Remember when they didn't give you the special pricing with your Apple card unless you use Safari?
Mm.
That might come up in the court case.
Who
And
uses Safari willingly?
everybody on the iPhone.
Again, it's the whole like, I would like to use this thing, but I have to. It's a forced bundle of like all this other stuff. It's like, for whatever reason, I like the Apple ecosystem. It's like, oh, but you really need to use Safari, and all these bad things happen that have nothing to do with your browser choice when you choose not to use Safari. That is a crime against society. Is a violation of the social contract.
Dark Wendell comes out to punish people for that.
And you would think that if you were a company who got fined and punished for something, you would make a change, and then you would make it globally, right? Because you'd be like, that's wrong. We shouldn't be doing that. We might get in trouble again. So this proves to you that they're making more money breaking the rules and paying the fine. So they never are interested in doing this. They just wait for every country to come along and do the same thing.
India orders Meta to curb WhatsApp data sharing and levies a $25 million fine. So it already had somewhat reduced data sharing. Now it's going to be even more reduced. But it was only in India the whole time. So what's WhatsApp doing that they shouldn't be doing for everybody else?
Well, in their neighbor of Pakistan, they are pretty hot to ban social media. And in this case, it seems like they're getting started early. Don't let it get a foothold.
Yeah.
Just ban it early.
Pakistan appears to block social media platform Bluesky amid user surge. What is this? People are using it. Oh, they might rebel against us. We should just block it. That's worrying.
Do it quick before anybody gets super angry about it.
And Australia, we've been talking about their draconian social media policy for children, which of course is going to be biometrics and digital IDs. That's the real reason, and now it's happening.
A bill to ban social media use by under 16s in Australia's parliament looks like it's set to pass, which doesn't sound terribly unreasonable on the face of it, but you need an ID to get online, which is it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Sad days for the Australians and for everybody, because eventually that's coming everywhere. And Instagram is, oh man, I would like to do this for YouTube.
Yeah.
That would be so nice.
Instagram will soon let you reset your recommendation algorithm because it's gotten weird.
And yeah, it's like, oh, I went down a rabbit hole. Now I need to get rid of this stuff. They say that they're going to roll it out soon, but they were like, it's not something we anticipate users will use super often. And I was like, I feel like I'd use that like every 2 weeks.
I think if they do start doing that a lot, Instagram is going to take it away.
Yeah.
Because they need that. They need that information to advertise to you.
Is this the thing like neurotypical people would never change the recommendation algorithm? Because some weeks is like, yep, this week is trains. Feed me everything about trains.
I need to see everything about this one topic, and then I'm going to put it down and never think about it again.
Well, I don't know about neurotypical, but the average certainly is betrayed by this headline, which is not surprising, actually, if you think about it.
3 and 4 Facebook shares are by people who haven't read the story, especially the extreme stuff. Yes.
I mean, a lot of people, like my neighbors, they're very sweet, but like just they share like AI posts all the time. They're like, "Can you believe this?" And I'm like, "Oh gosh, guys, that's an AI generated photo." Like,
it's the human need to distribute information, right? It's overwhelming for some people. Like they just can't not do it, even if they don't know anything about a topic. They need that.
It's also bad because somebody that thinks, I don't know, putting used socks in a shoebox underneath your front porch will convey luck. Like they'll be able to find just an expose, a 5,000 word expose on that, and then they'll share it, and it's just, you know, the incoherent ramblings of a madman.
that's a very specific example.
And as someone who does read the entire articles, I'm often entertained by the fact that so many sites are implemented the continue reading button.
Yes.
That they're testing
Yeah.
what their audience is actually doing. And I imagine they're finding that very few people get to the continue reading button.
That really frustrates me.
What do you do with the analytics in that? Like, do you have like, it's like, oh, we're going to have to add an AI summary above the story. It's like, here's what you're about to read, and then here's your thing. It's like, it's the new 3.5 essay format, but it's like the 1.3.5 where 1 is an AI generated summary of.
You don't do AI generated summary. You do AI generated articles.
Yeah,
and
the
you
whole
fire
thing.
everybody because nobody's reading it, right? They're just sharing the headline.
I noticed on one of the sites that used to have the continue reading button, it now, like the continue reading button appears at the same place as the we need your email address for you to continue reading. And I was like, oh, that's not happening.
Yeah, it's a minefield. It's awful.
Well, and it becomes a problem when we're curating stories for this, where it's like we're desperately trying to find a paywall alternative for you guys.
404 Media has disappointed me so much.
Yeah.
They were a great source. A lot of people share the links, but I'm not playing ball with their paywalls. And Bluesky is out there. A lot of people are going to it. It seems based on the election, that was a big shot in the arm for them. And they seem to be trying to galvanize their image as the good guy social media.
Unlike X, Bluesky says it won't train AI on your posts. But they're on the public internet, so there's very little to stop other people from
Yeah.
training them on your post.
But at least they're not doing it, I guess.
Their
Also,
wholly owned
that's for-
subsidiaries training.
Yeah. For now, and I would say, yeah, like for now, we're not training. Like if there's ever some sort of shift in the board or who the leadership is, that will absolutely change.
We will never do it, but our partner Anthropic.
Yeah.
It's so insane that we've become so jaded to those kinds of things, and also just basic things like I was in checkout the other day, and it was like scan your QR code so that you don't have to stand in line and do the thing, and I was like, okay, maybe, and it didn't go to a web URL; it went to an app, and I was like, well, if this went to a web URL, yes, this would be great because I could just pay the receipt or pay the thing so that I don't have to stand in line to pay the thing, but instead, you want me to install an app, which is going to give, like, this transaction has bundled on a lot of things that I don't want to do other than just pay you. So I'm not going to do it. And that's just the mantra for everything.
You've made it more difficult for me to give you money, and now I'm angry.
Yeah.
I kind of had that conversation with a bank teller, and she was just she could not understand why I refused to use the app.
Yeah.
It's like, but you need the app to do all these things. And I was like, I'm not using the app.
I had to install an app when the tree fell on my car because they were like, oh, to take photos and stuff, like you have to use it. And I was like, really?
And some other stories that I did not include, there was a a plethora of ex-business or government politician, government agency, whatever, leaving X. Seems to be more of the election fallout. But on the other end, some of the advertisers came back, which is weird. I don't know what's going on there, but there's definitely a lot going on over at X. And now they've got a new enemy.
X has added Twitch to its advertising boycott lawsuit. And I don't know, but I think this is related to Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos having a spat on Twitter/X. Because, Elon Musk posted as like, hey, I was at some party somewhere and multiple people told me that Jeff Bezos said this, and then Jeff Bezos responded like, I totally didn't say that, and then this.
It's high school.
Yeah.
That's this is middle school girl cafeteria.
When I read this, because they've been talking about the Twitch adpocalypse, and I thought when I saw the headline, I was like, oh, he's going to join forces with them because the same thing's happening to them. But no, he's against them. They have also pulled out of X. So
It's a breakup.
I don't understand the whole, you're not allowed to not advertise with me.
Yeah.
What kind of mentality is that?
Yeah, I don't understand. It's free speech, man. Except, if you don't advertise with me.
Yeah, the whole you're not allowed to boycott, those are the most insane laws that, how can anybody defend that?
Yeah.
You have to buy this thing. You have to.
I don't, and I won't.
Right. This was a short one. This was not very many articles. I feel like 28 minutes was pretty good for that.
But,
not bad.
Good luck with the holidays this week if you're in America. And if you're not, your American friends are not going to get back to you. Or they're going to be even more chatty than usual because they don't have as much to worry about this week.
No, there's always stuff to worry about. Stay noited. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.